This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so everybody, it is 9 o'clock. So if you're on this call, today's call is about obviously business credit building as usual, as well as how to start generating money for yourself. So one of the things that I'm going to start with is because we are every time we have a call, we're always talking about business credit building, funding, and credit repair and that type of thing. But one of the things that I find that most people are lacking in is getting money, right? And that's literally the most important thing, because honestly, it doesn't matter how much credit you build if you don't have a way of paying it off, or at least a game plan of some sort, right? Then you're screwed before you even start. And so it's important to me that people that take my advice, go out, build credit, that they have an avenue, that you're starting a business, you're doing something. And so one of the things that I find just like the most irritating thing to me in the world is that when I'm talking to people and they go out and they want to start some sort of business that is just like crazy expensive. I was talking to a new client the other day, and she wanted to open up a restaurant. So she had some money, and what she did was she invested her hard-earned $40,000 into this restaurant, and it never saw the light of day. Never saw the light of day, because what ended up happening with this young lady is that she had the money. She didn't know, she knew she wanted to open up a restaurant. She didn't know exactly, what to do, how to do. She found a space, pay the owner for the space, however many months up front. Then she turned around and she had plumbing done, had this and all these different crazy things done, had the city inspector come out. I mean, it was just like so much that she did. But then what ended up happening, from what I gather from her, is that it depleted her before she could even get the doors open. And so that 40 grand literally was basically out the window before she even started. And so in our conversation, we were talking, and one of the things that amazed me more than anything else is this young lady is in Texas, and her uncle owns a meat. He's a butcher. And I was just like, so did you go to your uncle? Did you this? Did that? And she's like, no, because I was just going to do this on my own. I was going to, all this craziness. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. But that's the dumbest shit ever. So for those of you who know me, I cuss. So if it's offensive to you, I'm sorry. But every once in a while, I'm going to throw in a little cuss word, because that's just how I speak. And so the thing was to me, is that she literally dropped all this money and then had to back up out of that business. Crazy. Because what I had said to her was, during our conversation, is that basically why, and she didn't have a reason why. So we have to, before we do anything, what's your reason? What's your why, right? So for me, my businesses are based around, my why is, what can I do that allows me to generate money with the least amount of effort, allow me to live how I choose to live, do what I choose to do, and make the most money with the least amount of effort put back out, right? And so I'm going to finish with that young lady, but I just want you to think about what your why is. What are you trying to accomplish? Because I hope that you're not trying to accomplish just going out and creating some business that has you slaving for it. That's crazy to me. So, especially in these days and times, right? So with this young lady, in the course of our conversation, she did say that that's just, that's something that she wants to do. Her and her husband want to do. So in the course of our conversation, I was like, well, dude, why don't you just, instead of this full-fledged restaurant, you've never been in the restaurant business, why not find some little spot in your section of Dallas, and just do like a hamburger stand, a hot dog stand, because the last time I checked, because usually I missed this past year because we went on vacation, but usually I have a cookout every year, and we have maybe, I don't know, 100, 150 people show up. And the deal is that I go to Sam's Club, I go to Smart and Final, and I buy these Farmer John hot dogs that are like 13 cents a freaking hot dog. When you break it down and do the math, you buy the bun, so you're into it for maybe 25, 30 cents or something. And sell it for $1 all day long. I mean, think about your process before you just jump out there. And so I'm going to leave this young lady alone because, talking about it, but I just want you guys to understand, don't go out and try to create something that's going to take up every dime you have. So I'm going to give you guys some examples of the businesses that I like and that are profitable because, A, my investment is minimal, and often I don't even have to invest until after I make a sale. And so, for instance, a lot of you know that I'm into the CPN business, and what you're gonna find funny is, and I do really good on the CPN business. I do very well on the CPN business, quite frankly. So over the weekend, just as an example, I had I spent about a $700 or $800 weekend doing the CPN business, and I don't even work the weekends. I mean, obviously, if somebody calls me up and they're like, "Hey, P, I need some numbers or something," and I can make a couple $100 or something, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and reply to them because that's $200 that I can utilize over the course of my weekend. But I really don't even work the weekend. But here's what's so funny about this is that the businesses that I do, I always find a component or an avenue so that I can, once I learn that business, I can sell that business. Does that make sense? Because, some of my best months in this arena, in the CPN business, that's, not my other business, but just the CPN business, which is a really good business for me, or when I get sales where I'm selling the business too, where I'm teaching other people how to do this. And the reason I like it so much is because, honestly, it's scalable. Okay? So the truth of the matter, think about it like this. My average retail price for a CPN, right? And so I don't sell CPNs. I sell the credit building system. And then when people buy that credit building system for $150, I give them the CPN. So, but my cost is less than $10. Right? My cost is less than $10. So think about that. If you want to, I'm sure my cost is less than $5. But my cost is less than $5 on something that I offer for $150. Do you see the difference there? So the first thing is, when you're out there and you're trying to find something that works for you or that you want to make money on, you have to find something that, A, if you invest in it and learn it, then is it sellable? Is it resellable? So when I learned the CPN game, one of the first things that I started doing once I started selling and providing people with the numbers is, if people would ask, I would say, "Oh yeah, hey, I can teach you how to do it. I can show you how to do it," right? Because I have two different programs. I have a program for $500, and then I have a program for $3,000 where I teach them everything, and so they can get their own numbers, and they don't have to come through me, and they can get them for $5 a number. Does that make sense? Because my thought is you should never you always want, because the CPN thing itself has limitations, because they have to come to me, right? But the selling of it as a business is extremely scalable, because I don't have to continuously provide them with service, right? So once they buy it from me and I make a decent sum of money, I give them the game, so to speak, and then they go on and do their thing. What do I care, right? I mean, that's scalable. That's more scalable than me having to do that, to talk to 10 people a day, or however many people a day, providing them with numbers. There's more money in the selling of a thing, and you guys, you have to understand that. So, like, for me also, in my all my businesses, really, it's always about, what can I do that doesn't cost me a lot of money, that I can sell it myself, but then also sell the game, right? That, because the old saying, the game is to be sold, not told, and that's real talk. I mean, that is the realest thing ever. And so everything, when I learned how to do business credit, the first thing I did was I started selling it to people. And I started selling it to people back in the day, a long time ago, like 20 years ago, before I even knew how to do it really good myself. And the reason being is because it makes sense. It makes sense. You don't have to know something in and out to turn around to sell it. There are people right here, right now, that are making making tremendous amounts of money on Instagram, on what's the other one, Periscope or whatever, and doing these, putting their stuff up constantly, and all they're talking about is just stuff that they're getting from somewhere else, a service that they're getting from somewhere else, and they're just reselling that service, and they're making a ton of money doing so. Because, like, even with me, I used to do credit repair a long time ago. I call it credit repair and rebuilding. Long time ago, I don't even bother doing that. But as some of you may know, I charged $2,000. Right? Last year I was charging $1,500. This year I charge $2,000. And if somebody needs something special, I charge more. But I don't even bother doing the work myself, because it doesn't make sense to me. And so I want you guys to understand something. I don't have to pay the young lady that works with me until after I get paid. So I sell an item or a service that I don't even have until after I get paid. So hopefully you can understand the power of that. That is so much more important, so much more powerful than trying to take $40,000 and start some business that is captive, right? Because now you have to be there. So I'm talking to you all, literally, I am talking to you all from my sofa, as I do every week that I have these calls. I'm literally talking to you all from my sofa. And I'm just sitting here in front of my laptop, and we're having this conference call. And the only reason I'm doing these conference calls is because it puts me out there, it puts my name out there, so on and so forth. It's a good look for me. But in addition to that is that I want to help other people the way that I've been helped. I want to give out some information the way I've been given information. Now, a lot of it I've had to buy, but I take what I buy. If it's sellable, and I resell it. And I want you all to understand that. That's something that's imperative to do. So, CPN business, back to that. How much did it cost me when I first got into the CPN business? Absolutely nothing, because I wouldn't even buy the product until after I made money. Does that make sense? Now, things were different back then, because back in the day, I would use Craigslist really heavy, which also cost me zero to provide the CPNs. The other business that I started that it's an awesome business because it has a high perceived value. Setting up corporations for people, and setting up corporations for people. For me personally, I charge $699. Some of you may know this, some of you may not. I don't know, but the point is that I charge $699 because my average cost is about $250, right? To provide somebody with a corporation for $699. And once again, I found a company to do all my back end work for me. And so that $250 is a cost for me, but look at the profit and look at what I have to put out to make that happen. You know, it's before we run out and spend 40 grand like this young lady I was talking about with the restaurant that never saw the light of day, you know, find something, especially in these days and times, you can find something that you can put out there into the world and not have to have a dime spent prior to. And if you are going to spend your money, your money should be spent on paying somebody that will teach you a skill set that you can then turn around and provide that skill set out to the public, and then also sell that skill set out to the public. Just like with the CPNs, just like with corporations, just like with business credit building, just like with credit repair. You know, all of these are skill sets that have high value, right? And they also, in addition to that high value, they're scalable. So you can not only do it yourself, but you can create a platform that's sellable, and then subsequently just put it out in the world. And that's what everybody on this call should be thinking about. So once again, you know, it's great to build a bunch of business credit, but you also need to have avenues of paying that money back so you can create even more money. Because if you don't have an avenue of generating capital, you're screwed. Period. And so, in my opinion, this is just Pascal's opinion, you have to, it's mandatory, that you find a way of making money which will allow you to create even more money in credit, which you can do bigger things. You know, I have students, you know, I have a student right now who, I mean, she is killing the game. I don't know what it is about women, but women just, oh my God, they're phenomenal in this credit game. Phenomenal. You know, they're just, and you know, and I'm going to tell you something about this young lady. I'm not going to tell you who she is, but this young lady hasn't even been in this long. Less than 6 months. Less than 6 months. And she's easily made over $100,000 in less than 6 months. And you know, and I'm going to tell you the truth. You know, she's doing better than me financially, right? Because she's out there on her hustle. And one of the things that I'm telling you, I've noticed is that people in a bad situation will, I mean, they do well, right? They thrive. Somebody's making a lot of noise, and if you can stop making all that noise, I'd appreciate it. Mute yourself, please. So anyways, anybody on this call, you gotta figure out what it is that you're looking to do. You have to figure out, and somebody asked the question, is she affiliated with my CPN business? She was doing CPNs until I turned her on how to do business credit, and that's why her numbers are so high now, because with the business credit, you know, we charge so much more, right? So my price tag to build someone's credit is $5,000, and if they do it over in payments, it ends up being $6,500. And so, the math is pretty easy. So just think about this. In the course of a year, if you just got one person a month at $5,000, right? That's $60,000 a year in income. Just one person a month to pay you $5,000. Now, to make that same money in the CPN business, I would have to sell a whole lot of CPNs at $150, a whole lot. But if you want to, I'm just going to tell you, the CPN business is a easier gateway. The CPN business is it's a simpler product, if you will. So she does do the CPNs, this particular individual, but not so much anymore since I turned around how to do business credit building, right? So when I met this person, she was in a completely different arena, completely different headspace, the whole 9 yards. And she's killing the game. So she does do the CPNs, but not as much, nowhere near as much, because there's just so much more money in the business credit arena. It's ridiculous. And so also with the business credit arena, I also want to mention to you that a part of that needs to be a part of the business credit business. You're going to have to either yourself or someone else that you find to hire is going to have to, be set up to do credit repair. So you're going to have to, you're going to want to set up to do credit repair. I can't stress this enough. Credit repair is not difficult, right? There's all kinds of information out there that you can buy that's golden. So like my little team, the young lady that I work with the credit repair, between she and myself, we're constantly finding new strategies, different strategies, and I can just tell you guys, one of the best strategies, I don't care what, system you buy for doing credit repair, is handwritten letters. If you take the time to handwrite a letter and send it in, it stops their system, so to speak, in a person, because their computers, as technical and as fancy as their computer systems are, handwritten letters, because everybody's handwritten letters are different, it stops the system and it has to be looked at by a person. So you have a greater chance of the system not just spitting it out, saying, oh yeah, we verified this and moving on. Especially letters of validation, that type of thing. So just, you all, it's just a matter of finding something, and it doesn't have to be the credit repair business, CPNs, or business credit building, coaching, which is like what I do. It doesn't have to be that, but you need to find something. It could be. I was listening to this guy. I bought their program, cost me like $1,000, and they're constantly sending me stuff. And basically, this guy was explaining their business model, right? And they're big on YouTube and what have you, as well as other social media platforms. And the thing about what this guy was saying is that when they first started their business, they felt that it was going to be a few $100,000 a year business between four people, between the four partners. And they were going to just kill the game, but they were going to do, one-on-one coaching in the dating arena, So, then they ended up meeting somebody, and that person told them, dude, that's the stupidest thing ever, right? You're going to do one-on-one coaching in the dating arena when you can just simply create a bunch of videos, and instead of you taking your time to deal with this one individual for, some whatever amount of money, you can literally sell that product 1,000 times. 2,000 times, 5,000 times, so on and so forth. So you create a situation where you have exponentially grown, right? You've created this army of you that's out there. So you take you and you multiply yourself times 1,000, right? And there's so much more money when you exponentially multiply yourself. So much more money. You know, I have, as I've said over and over and over again, I have brokers in the CPN game, right? And the reason I have brokers in the CPN game and I offer them good pricing is because it exponentially creates more of me, right? So I have people, to be honest with you, that's how I made the, I think it was about $750 or $800 this weekend. It wasn't because I was out there talking to people or making sales. I didn't do squat. My fat ass went to eat. I went to LA, hung out with my wife, met Joy, who's a business partner of mine. I met her and her son for lunch. We did a little this, little that, you know, and I made, like I said, $750, $800 this weekend. And it wasn't because of my efforts. It was because of my broker's efforts. And that's why it's so important to learn something and then sell that something, sell it in a couple of different ways. As I keep on mentioning with the CPN thing, I sell the whole game for $3,000, where I show you how to be me. Set up brokers. You know, and you can do the same thing. Excuse me. In the business credit arena, you can do the same thing in credit repair. You can do the same thing in dating niche. You can do the same thing in almost any niche you're thinking of. You can do that. You can create where there's either more of you by creating a product, and there's all kinds of people out there on Fiverr that will help you put together your product. There's people on Fiverr that will help you put together your ebook. There's people on Fiverr that will do your videos for you if you write the script. There's people on Fiverr that will do so much for you. It's not even funny, and the cost is minimal. All right, so I have a young lady on Fiverr every time I need like a poster or business cards or a flyer or whatever, and it costs me $5, and she does a fantastic job. You see, I mean, my webmaster, my web guy, Sean, who is awesome. You know, I sell his services. You know, so when somebody comes to me and they go, "Oh, dude, I want to buy one of your programs or whatever," right? No problem. You know, we'll build you a website. So I take a little portion of the money that I got. I pay Sean to build their website. I'm not trying to figure out how to build a website. It's not even in my view. It's not even in my anything. I could give a crap about building a website. Why would I want to spend my time trying to learn how to build a website when there's a ton of people that can do the job better than I? That's like me saying I'm going to go out and oh, my car needs to have the oil change. So and oil changing, you know what? I used to do it back in the day, right? But why bother? I can go to Walmart and have it done for $29, and they're going to do it right because I can sue them if they do it badly. But if I screw up and mess something up, I'm just done. So for $29, I get my oil changed and move on with my day. So don't try to do everything. Pay people. Figure it out in your cost factor, right? You know, I have people that refer to me and refer clients to me for CPNs. I sell those CPNs to their clients in particular. It's a trade line company for $75. Okay, but I still make $70. And what did I have to do? That means for that $70 that I just made, right? I didn't have to sell anybody anything. I didn't have to go after the client. I didn't have to do anything. All they did is I gave them half off for their clients, right? $75. I make $70, you know, and that's net. That's not like gross. That's net in my pocket, $70 for every client they send over. And so my deal is that whatever you're going to create, whatever you're going to do, make it simple. And then when you have a bunch of capital, then you can go out and do something else, do something bigger or whatever you want to do. Does that make sense to anybody? I mean, if you guys are catching what I'm saying, I mean, you can send the chat or you can do whatever, but hopefully you guys are grasping what I'm trying to get across to you. And the reason I'm on this tyrant this is simply because of talking to that young lady and hearing her spend $40,000 on a restaurant that never came to life. That's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. $40,000 in my world is an extreme amount of money. Extreme amount of money. Okay? It's extreme. So, anyways, hopefully you guys are, I don't know. I mean, some of you, a lot of you are entrepreneurs already. You're doing your thing. But I'm just saying, I don't care what kind of business you have, figure out how you can sell the game. If you have a business that's making you some money, you need to figure out how you can sell the game. You need to figure out how you can sell that to somebody else. You need to figure out how you can get brokers underneath you. It's very, very important to do that. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest things. And then if you really want to take it to the next level, then you're going to want to, get on Instagram and start publicizing yourself like crazy. If you're in the tax business, like a lot of people I deal with are in the tax business. They have a tax business. If you're not on social media blowing yourself up, you're doing yourself a disservice. My social media presence is not what it should be. So we're rebranding, and we're going to just blow it up because it's just a necessity. For some of you that are in the in this business, if you're, I mean, trade lines, we have a trade line package that we're offering. It's $5,000, right? We're offering it for $5,000 because, once again, if you look at the math, if I just did just a trade line a month, that's $60,000. Just one a month. And if you're out there, you're branding yourself, you're pushing your who you are and what you're about. I'm going to tell you, which is absolutely amazing to me. People don't have to know you. People don't have to have ever met you, nothing. And they will give you their hard-earned $5,000. They'll take a chance on you. All you have to do is just know 10% more than what they know about whatever you're offering. That's it. That's it. And admittedly, on the corporate trade lines, that we offer, I'll make a couple of grand. Right? I will make a couple of grand. So I offer for $5,000. I make a couple of grand. Any way you look at it, that's still 20. If I just did one a month, that's $24,000 for the year from that particular thing. So, it's so simple, but we make it so difficult. I make it difficult for myself, and I know this, but I make it difficult for myself. So I know you all are going to make it difficult for yourself. But what I'm trying to just simply say is that there's a lot of money out here, and just you got to go after it, but go after it as keep it simple. The old kids theory: keep it simple, stupid. You got to go after this money, but you got to go after it in the simplest way possible, without a huge investment, because in the day of the internet, huge investments are not necessary. The only thing that you should be investing in is your education into products that you can subsequently turn around and sell. That's it. I don't care if you want to, sell weight loss, then you need to invest in weight loss for yourself in a product that you can learn what they're talking about and then turn around and put it online and sell it. Period. That's it. There's no magic. There's nothing special. There's no, it's just keep it simple, stupid. Right? If you're gonna do this, one of these games, one of these things, that I'm into, right? And I like what I'm into simply because it works for me. But this doesn't mean that it has to be for you. Whatever your thing is, whatever your get down is, right? Then let that be it. But I would suggest to you that you find the least path of resistance into it. Right, so with that young lady, by the time the one that spent the $40,000 on her restaurant that never opened up, by the time we were done with our conversation, and she has, oh my God, she was telling me she has like thousands of dollars of restaurant equipment now that's just sitting in storage, and so I'm like, dude, open up a hot dog stand. If that's your get down, that's your pathway. Open up a hot dog stand. We know hamburgers are cheap, right? You can get a box of hamburgers. You can get, I think it's at Smart and Final, which is a place out here, which is like a mini, it's like a mini Costco or something. You can get a box of, they have a box of 80 hamburger patties, and they have a box of 100 hamburger patties. And I think it's like, it comes out to like 30 cents a patty or something like that. It's just ridiculously cheap. They're thin, but who cares, right? You sell them cheap. So my point is, she could do that for less than $5,000. With the little bitty spot, you don't need a place for people to sit down. I gave her an example. There's a place called the Hip P out in Long Beach that my wife and I go to. You can only fit 4 people in their little area where you order your food. You can only fit 4 people in there at any given time, and that's not seated, that's standing. And they are busy as crazy. They're just like busy. And pitas are nothing. It's just little pita sandwiches, and they're crazy busy. When we were there the other day, which was yesterday, while we were waiting for our food, there had to be 20 people walk in, make their order, and come out. 20 people. And you figure an average of, I don't know, $10 a person maybe. And we weren't there that long. So, what is it that you're going to do? What's the path of least resistance to get into it? And is it scalable? Because if it's not scalable, then what's the point of doing it? If it's not scalable, unless you have a lot of money, right? So if you have a lot of money, like you're sitting on a few $100,000 or something, liquid that, oh yeah, I want to open up this restaurant or something like that. Okay, cool. But if you don't have a few $100,000 and up, then you shouldn't even be thinking about those type of things, in my opinion, because there's too much that you can do to generate $250,000 that you can literally start today for virtually nothing. That you can literally find someone and say, hey, I like what you're offering. I want to sell it. What kind of commission can I get? Or better yet, if I can't get a commission on it, figure out what you can sell it for greater than what they're offering it for, and then start selling that item. Right? So what does that cost you? It costs you $0. And that's how I make my money. I do things that don't cost me crap up front, or very little, like very little. Does that make sense? So for me, it's like, let's say if I were out actually like purchasing CPNs, and my calculated cost is $5 per, and I had to buy 100 of them. That's $500, right? So if I had to spend $500, let's say, to get 100, and I'm selling them for $150, that's $15,000, right? So you get the math. It's $15,000 that I would make on a $500 investment. That makes sense. If I created a program, if I went to Fiverr and I had somebody, I wrote the scripts off of some information I bought from somebody else, because I do that too, there's no need to recreate the wheel, right? So if I find something that I like that's workable, I will take it and I will rewrite it, and then I offer it to my client base. See how simple that is? I've been doing that for years because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to recreate something. If I find something that's working and I go, oh, this is some good shit, I will take it, I will rewrite it into my own words. I will have somebody on Fiverr or my wife go on, I can't think of the site right now, but there's a site that you can go on and create pages, like book covers and I can't think of it. It'll come to me later, I'm sure. But on Fiverr, I can have somebody do it, and I don't have to wait for my wife, which can take a long time. So I just go to Fiverr, and they're going to have it done in a couple of days, and they will redo your book cover for you, until you get it the way you want it to, right? And it'll cost you $5. You want somebody to spend more time on it, it'll cost you $10. You get it, and it's material that then you can take, if you really want to do it right, you can take that material and you can have somebody on Fiverr read it, turning it into a video, and now you have a product that you can sell for, $100 or $500. And all you've done is taken someone else's stuff, wrote it into your own words, have somebody on Fiverr create it for you, have somebody else on Fiverr create the book cover for you, have somebody else on Fiverr do the videos for you, and then just sell it. And so you're selling the game, right? And now you've exponentially increased your chances of making money. None of this is difficult. Everything that I do, I sell it. I sell it as a business also. Everything that I do, I sell it as a business because I want all the money. I want all the money with the least amount of work. None of this stuff is hard, y'all. None of this stuff is hard. It's just, how lazy, and I'm a lazy-ass human being. I'm telling you right now, I am a lazy-ass human being. It is ridiculously bad. Ridiculously bad. But I do the work that I have to do. And the work that I don't want to do, I find someone else that can do it. You know why? Because there's a ton of people that do all this stuff, and that's what they do all day long. So a lot of you know, I use, because I've told you all on these calls before, I use a company in LA, actually, to be frank with you, they're in the City of Commerce, which is a bordering city of LA, to do my corporation stuff. Right? They do all the back end stuff. But I make the money. Then I make the money to pay them. So, Attorney Service Corporation is the name of the company, right? It's just, I don't even mind giving you guys that because it's just that simple. They will do your corporate kits. I have these really nice kits that have all the custom documents inside of them. They have this little metal embosser thing so people can stamp their little paperwork with their corporate seal and all that kind of stuff. And I don't do none of that crap. I don't create any of that stuff. Attorney Service Corporation creates that stuff for me. Right? Why would I want to do that? I don't even bother, sending stuff to the Secretary of State. I drop it off with them. I let them do that. I pay. They just here's your money. Take care of that. Make it happen for me. Does that make sense? Because if I try to take the time to worry about how each state does their filings, that's stupid. For me, it's stupid. I don't care how the state of Washington wants their filings done. I don't give a shit about that. All I want to know is I fill out this little documentation, or better yet, if it looks too complicated, I pay them to do it. It costs me $35. Right? Here's the information. Can you guys fill out this paperwork? It looks complicated. I don't want to do it because I want it done right. Here's $35. An Attorney Service Corporation, those young ladies, that's all they do all day long, will simply take care of that for me for $35. I'm charging $699, so why do I care about that $35 when I know that it's done right? Does that make sense? So I'm just telling you all, keep it simple. Why do I want to worry about the filing process when I can pay Attorney Service Corporation to do it for me and I know it's done right? Sending in the documentation is simple to do. I've done it because I've had to, right? Sometimes I'm in a rush and I'll just go ahead and knock it out myself. So I've done it. It's not a big deal. But the point is that I'll just pay them because I know it's going to get done right. They know what they're doing because that's what they do all day. And I don't want to be bothered with it. The business credit building. All of my clients in the business credit building program, you know what I tell them? I tell each and every one of them, once you learn how to build, because I don't just, it's not something with my business credit building program. I don't just do it and try to hold all the information. In my business credit building program, for that $5,000, they learn it all. You get it? They learn it all. And I tell them, once you learn this and you see how it works for you, you need to go out and sell this game. I tell everybody that. A couple of reasons. Number one, if they go out and sell the game, they know the process because I've taught them the process as they're going along, then what that does for me personally is that says, okay, now they have a way of making money. And who are they going to come back to when they need help? Me. So I win all the way around. And they get to win. Because hopefully they'll go out and not, pollute the well by selling it really cheap, but they'll go out and sell it for my price tag, right? $5,000. And make a lot of money. Because honestly, in this business credit building business, your actual cost, my actual cost and investment is minimal. And if I did the credit repair part of it myself, it would be even less. Right? It would be way less. But I choose not to do the credit repair part of it myself. So my business credit building program, I charge $5,000 for it. I guarantee people that are going to get between $30,000 and $300,000 over a course of 12 months ultimately. But the point is that for that $5,000, I'm not killing myself. And that's what you all have to start considering. Don't go out and spend $40,000 on a restaurant that you've never had any experience in doing, and then turn around and have to put all your stuff that you bought in storage because you just didn't have enough to finish it through. Do stuff like this. Okay, let me back up off of that. Do whatever the hell you want to do, but it needs to be things that, I can't stress this enough because I've said it like 15 times. It needs to be sellable and scalable. Sellable and scalable. Any business that you're in, if it's not sellable and scalable, why are you doing it? Because you're creating a job for yourself. So sellable and scalable need to be your thought process. I have a young lady that she's actually a broker. She had texted me and she was like, oh, hey, Pascal, I'm in a situation. It's a fighting situation, whatever the hell that means, you can just probably figure it out for yourself. And I got to move my credit. I'm still working on it. I need a CPN. So I just gave her a CPN. Like, here you go, because she's been a good broker, right? But what was funny to me is that she's texting me constantly over the weekend, asking me all these questions about what she should be doing. And it was kind of funny to me because I'm thinking to myself, you're out there selling CPNs, left and right, but you need to come back and ask me questions on what you should be doing? You get my point, y'all? Is that You don't have to be a CPN expert to sell CPNs. You don't have to be a credit repair expert to sell credit repair. You don't have to be a business credit building expert to sell business credit building. And you damn sure don't have to be an expert in anything else to sell it. Because most of the people that are making the people that I follow anyway, that are making millions of dollars online, like the Frank Kerns of the world, they aren't experts in half the things that they're selling, and that's the trip part. They're, and they don't need to be experts in those things because it doesn't matter, right? They take information, they buy it, regurgitate it into their own words, and that's it, and sell it. People like Frank Kern make tens of millions of dollars. Hold on, you guys. We're having a slight issue. Hold on.
Pascal.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This
How are
is Denise.
you?
How are you?
Hey, Denise. I'm doing well.
I figured while you're having technical difficulty, I'd piggyback on what you were saying and just wanted to say you're absolutely correct. So many times we get stuck on stupid, as you mentioned, and want to do all the work ourselves. And just over the weekend, just a little bit about myself real quick. I'm in financial services, and I started off as an accountant. And so accounting and financial services are worlds apart. The only thing that's compatible are numbers. That's it. So I've actually learned for free. I'm now using someone else's office that had to pay $50,000 to get it up and running. I pay $25 to go 8 times in 1 month, $25 a month, and I get to learn virtually for free. Everything I need to know in financial services. I make commissions of 35 to 80%, 35 to 80%, and I just learned by speaking to 2 ladies over the weekend. I was at a training that was for free, that they outsourced and they were paying people in the Philippines 3. She said, "Yeah, I upgraded to 3." She's talking to the other lady, and I said, $3, and that was an upgrade, meaning she was paying them more money than what they normally get. $3, and then I was like, wow, that's crazy. So there are services that you mentioned. There are other people who will do the work for you, and now outsourcing is so big, and there's a lot of trustworthy companies. These ladies are very trustworthy. She owns her own accounting firm, and she outsources. And so she's figured out how to duplicate herself how many times she wants to pay. And so just as you were saying, you're absolutely correct, because we try to do everything ourselves. Why? It takes too much time. Let people who know how to do the stuff pay them to do it, and we can't. A lot of times we say, "Oh, I wish I could duplicate myself." Well, now you can with other services, and it's so much cheaper, and that allows you free up time to be with your families, go on vacation, do whatever you want to do. So you're absolutely correct. I didn't know anything in financial services. It cost me $100 for a background check, less than $400 for my state exam. So if anybody out there who wants to get going in a financial service business, the money is trillions of dollars that we have to tap into. You can get my phone number from Pascal, but I just wanted to let you know that. And if you're back online, I will be quiet now.
No, I'm back. I mean, this system, this GoToMeeting system, not the best. But hey, you know what? Until I find something else, that's what I'm working with. So, everybody, as Denise was just saying, in actuality, you can find all kinds of companies that offer vetted workers in the Philippines and in Malaysia and also in Eastern Europe. There's a ton of them out there. There's a ton of companies out there. I just mentioned Fiverr because I happen to use them a lot. But like even my webmaster, Sean, he has a team of people in the Philippines that actually do the web work for him because he would not be able to do it all himself. So now that Denise mentioned that brought that to mind because most of my projects, if they're in depth, Sean will just have his guys in the Philippines do it for him. And I think he has 5 guys in the Philippines that he works with that do web development work. So there you go. It's none of this stuff is hard, y'all. I just want to say that. So now we only have a few more minutes left, and I want to kind of get off that tangent, but I want you guys to understand that, please, find a business that is scalable. That's so important, and scalable meaning that either you can turn it into a product and sell it, or you can have affiliates out there reselling your stuff. It's just really, really, really important because it's been really good for me. And as Denise, who is also a business partner of mine, she can attest. I am kind of lazy. It's something I'm working on, but admittedly, I'm not the as go-getter as I probably should be. I'm working on becoming more, right? But hey, it is what it is. So anyways, think about all those different avenues that you guys have that Denise mentioned, I mentioned, the Fiverrs of the world. There's a company called iWriter. They have professional writers. You give them the scene, they'll even go out and find the content for you if you wanted to. But I like buying other people's content and then rehashing it to make it my own. I tell people all the time to buy my programs, take everything that I've given them and just use it. Why wouldn't you? You're right. It just makes sense to me. Just use it. And for those of you who are in my business credit building program, you should literally, as you're learning, you should start trying to offer it to somebody else, seriously, to recoup your $5,000 that you paid me. And the other thing that is hugely important that you guys have to understand is get an email list. The reason that you all are on this call right now is because I emailed you. And I use Aweber, but also I use GoDaddy has their own email service now, and I also use them as well. And I'm kind of liking the GoDaddy one. But between Aweber and GoDaddy, you have 2 different places. Start creating an email list, and for those of you online, you'll see this little page that I have set up, and it says Power Monday Masterminds, and it's where you can sign up, for the email. Just very simple. It's called a capture page. You can have a capture page put up for a little of nothing. So all you do is you go to, let's say, Aweber, and you get your link, and then you have your webmaster lay in that link into your capture page and start sending people to your capture page, and that way you start collecting their name and their email address, and you can do just what I've done. So I want to say something to you guys, so I missed last Monday because of the holiday. I just chose to take it off. And so we didn't have the Power Monday Master Call. But, the last call that we had, I had sent out an email, and the email was once again for the business credit building program, and from that email I made one sale. And so you go, well, that's nothing. But how much does it cost me to email people? Nothing. I mean, I pay the same, $50 a month whether I email people or I don't, right? So I'm already paying them $50. And so I sent out an email, and I got one sale because of that email I sent out. And you go, well, one sale, that's nothing. Well, that one sale is a $5,000 sale. Now it's a $6,500 sale because the guy's making payments. So because of that one email that I sent out, so this is the power of having an email list of your own. And because of that one email, the guy called me up. He gave me $1,000 down, and then gave me another $1,000 since then. Right? So in a 2-week period of time, because of that one email, I made $2,000. It's I mean, dude, who else is doing that? Right? I mean, well, on this phone call, there's a lot of people doing it, and I'm trying to get to where they're at. But for you all that are listening to me, you're probably not there. I mean, that's what you need to be. So take in all this stuff that I'm saying to you, because it's hugely important. Create a business that doesn't cost you a bunch to get into, or team with somebody that's already doing something that you want to do, and get their products after you've collected your money, and then have them do the back end work, just like, basically what I do. Create an email list. You got to start creating an email list. You got to start, getting people on your list, so you can, anytime you have a promotion, like as soon as we get off this call, or maybe not as soon as, but when you have a promotion, you go to your AWeber account or your GoDaddy email marketing account, and send people your promotion. I mean, even my niece had created this little ebook, and in initial sales, I think we did like 300 and some change, right? And I think by the time it was all over, it might have been like 400 and something, maybe close to 500. I don't know. But I'll go after the initial sales, and let's just call it 350 for easy math. So in this little ebook that I sent out, we sold it really, really cheap. I think we sold it for like, I don't know, let's call it $20. Sending out an email generated $300 and some odd for just one email. So that obviously paid for my email service for that month. And the ebook, as you know, an ebook is an ebook. So once you create it that one time, it's it. That you don't, you're not recreating the thing. It's just you email it off to people. Create things, and then that's good. That's a good thing. The $300, ooh, loved it. But, I'm having to shift my mindset, and I would hope that you all would shift your mindset to the bigger picture, to higher dollar amounts. You want to make at least $100 off of everything you do. At least $100. And then once you're doing that, start figuring maybe $1,000 or maybe $500 off of everything you do, because then that makes it so much more worthwhile. Because then you figure, if I can just get 10 people a month, that's $1,000 if I'm making $100. Just 10 people a month. And then if you were doing, $500, an item or product or service that you can do for $500, just 10 people a month. 10 people a month. That's, what is that? $5,000, right? So the larger the amount, the higher volume or the higher perceived value that a product has, the more money you're going to make. Anyways, this call is running over, so I'm gonna touch on really quick about the business credit and all that kind of stuff. So what we have found here lately is that there are a ton of local lenders, right? You guys, you gotta You got to go after these local credit unions and regional credit unions and regional banks because they're giving up money. I was talking to a broker of mine the other day, and he has been getting money from Allstate. Allstate. I mean, come on, Allstate and State Farm are farmers. You know, they have lending arms. You know, and it just kind of blew me away. You know, that he was getting money for his clients from Allstate and State Farm. It was State Farm or farmers. But check it out for yourself. I mean, there's so many places out there to get money, and their criteria are not high. So if you're trying to get your money, you know, get your credit score up. You know, get your 680 FICO score at the low end, but preferably over 700. And if you don't personally have a 700 preferred, 725 FICO score, find a credit partner. Find a credit partner because, you know, I've told you all this story before. You know, I had a buddy, Ann. She was running out of money for her business. She was or has now since opened up a group home, but she had all these, you know, new requirements that the state wanted. Her credit was crap, and so she wasn't able to use her credit to go after business credit. But within an hour, her son, she just, you know, added him on verbally, not literally, to her corporation, and he applied for credit and was able to raise $16,000 for her, right? What was it? Chase Inc. card was one of them, and the other one was Capital One Spark business card, but was able to raise 16 grand, and his credit score wasn't that great. It was under 700. But my point being is that, you know, it wasn't her credit. It was her corporation, but it wasn't her credit. She just took him on as a lending partner for a moment, right? But he doesn't show on her business at all, you know. But he was able to, you know, apply for credit, put her business name down, subsequently apply and got approved for $16K. So, you know, think outside of the box. And you guys, everybody has my number, 951-515-4728. Once again, Pascal's number is 951-515-4728. And if you'd like, give me a buzz, okay? This call is over, and I really appreciate everybody that has come on the call. I'm really hoping that you guys are getting something out of the calls. Somebody asked, what is the lady's email address? I didn't catch her name. I don't know which lady you're referring to, so I don't know how to answer that. So, anyways, listen, everybody, thank you so much. 951-515-4728. And sorry about the technical difficulties, but GoToMeeting, I don't know. I'm having difficulties with them every week. So thank you, guys. Talk to you later. Hopefully you learned something. This call is over. Bye-bye.